This beauty is a 1942 Ford Seep. That's short for seagoing Jeep. It's an amphibious vehicle that saw action in the European theater during World War II. It's an authentic part of our nation's living history, as is the man Anna Werner will now tell us about.
When you tour the National World War II Museum in New Orleans, you're advised to look up. That's a B-17 bomber, so deadly and effective it served in every theater of the war.
They made him blow a bugle for his Uncle Sam.
There's lots to see and hear in this museum of more than 10,000 artifacts and installations, all reflecting the simple fact that World War II was big, the largest armed conflict in human history. And with all the stuff, it would be easy to miss him, sitting quietly just to the right as you enter the exhibit hall.
Come on over here. Come around here.
But that would be a shame.
This is Omaha Beach. We jump back here behind the lines.
Staff Sergeant Tom Blakey, 92 years old, volunteers at the museum for a couple of days each week.
Were you ever injured in the
No, I was never injured. I was lucky.
Greeting visitors, young and old.
What was the hardest thing?
Answering questions.
Was trying to stay alive.
And inevitably...
Do you mind if we take some pictures with you?
Not if you want to break your camera.
getting his picture taken.
Go ahead and take the picture.
He's been sitting there for over a decade now, logging 13,000 hours as a volunteer. So long, the museum staff has a nickname for him.
They told us that they call you the living artifact.
They do.
You know this?
Yes, I know that.
What do you think of that?
I don't care.
So you must remember a lot of these items.
Oh, yeah, I remember every one of them.
The museum is filled with reminders of his time as a paratrooper with the famed 82nd Airborne.
This is me.
In fact, a photograph of Blakey himself hangs in an exhibit.
These are guys that I had picked up. We were trying to find out where we were.
It shows him on the morning of June 6th, 1944, D-Day.
Each hour, this is the supreme moment of invasion.
Blakey had parachuted into France behind enemy lines. His mission? To capture and hold a small bridge over the Mer River.
We were ordered to take that bridge, to hold it, whatever the cost was. We did not let it go. The cost was high, but the bridge was held. That kept the Germans from getting to Utah Beach.
He's recounted the story many times over the past 69 years, but there's one part he's always left out, until now.
We were at the bridge. They were coming around the curve. Everybody had got the message, pick one out. I picked one out and got a sight, hand on the trigger, and pulled it. I could see when the bullet hit him. He jumped up in the air, raised his arms above his head, and dropped his rifle and fell backwards.
He kept firing, and many Germans fell, that day and in battles to come. But even after the war ended, and Blakey was sent back home to New Orleans, that first man he shot and killed haunted him.
He came to me from that day on ever so often. There was never any rhyme or reason when he came and when he left. And he came vividly in my mind often. It made me belligerent. I was mad. I don't know what I was mad at or about. I had got married, had children, had a mortgage like everybody else did, but I did bad things to my family. I fussed. I criticized. I don't know why.
He says he was angry for decades. Until the museum, originally called the National D-Day Museum, opened in 2000, and Blakey enlisted as a volunteer.
I came to the museum and I worked 3 days a week for about 4 months.
Walking through the automatic doors,
I guess that's what they're supposed to do.
meeting other veterans,
It was raining and you were cold.
sharing his experiences.
Not only were you hungry and tired, you were scared.
Staff Sergeant Blakey underwent a transformation.
I got up one morning, it was on a Wednesday morning, I threw the cover back and got out of bed, and it hit me. How long have you been to the museum? Been there 4 months. You haven't seen the man. He has not appeared. In the 4 months you've been at the museum, he has not appeared. I've been here 13 and a half years, and I have lost him. He doesn't appear anymore. Here we go.
These men from the greatest generation aren't really the touchy-feely type, and it's hard for Tom to put into words how the museum helped him lose his anger.
I don't know what the museum had to do with it, but I know how I felt when I walked in, and I know how I felt when I walked out the front door. Now, my kids will tell you that my going through the museum was a change in me. Boy, you're breaking a lot of cameras.
In a museum designed to preserve memories of the war,
Wonderful.
Tom Blakey managed to let one go.
Another camera broken.